Good afternoon. I wish I had like some outstanding football term or something that relates to football to give you guys an opening statement, man. But when I got up this morning and I started driving in, the only thing that hit my mind were these shootings, and that's man, it's so troubling. The first one that happened in Buffalo, and then the one recently that happened in Uvalde. Gosh, and the only thing that I think about is, and I actually heard somebody say this morning, and I thought it was such a true statement, is you get guys that's 21 years old, and it's the first time they can buy beer. All right. But man, they're allowing an 18-year-old to buy assault rifles. That's just something just wrong with that. And listen, I don't have all the answers, right? And I know that there are people at higher levels that have to figure those things out. But man, that was just on my mind. So you guys can start your questions.
You have Texas roots. Do you?
Yeah.
Do you know anyone from around there?
I don't. But once I hear something like that happened, doesn't matter where, but when it says Texas, it kind of hit close to home. And you just, because I have kids, I have 3 kids, and they're out of the house right now. But man, just imagine the parents that happened to. That's tough. And then you hear the things that come out, that these kids were in a room, barricaded room for over an hour. Man, it's hard for me to even just fathom what those kids were going through. And you have future doctors, lawyers, scientists that's in that group that now you don't, I mean, it's over with, and even the person that did the shooting, I mean, he just hurt his whole family, so it's not about the shooter, and sometimes they don't understand it. It's about everybody else that's around that person. So, but that was on my mind.
Your kids are not that far removed from school?
Well, I have a 27-year-old, me and my wife. We've been married for a while. And I have a 21 that's in college. She's a senior in college. And then I have a 17 that's a freshman at San Diego State. So, just not too far removed from high school. So those things hit you hard. Kids in general, because you just think just if it would have happened, to your kid. So that's it's tough. It's tough.
Did you ever worry about them when they went to school with things like this, shootings?
I never have worried about it because I don't think there's a place where you should worry when your kids go to school. That's just how I grew up. I knew my kids were going there for an education. I knew they were going to be with their friends. I knew they were going to whatever sport endeavors they were in, whatever club endeavors they were in. I knew they was going for that. Not one time did I fear for their lives at all. So it was, because that's how I think school should be. That's a safe haven for your children. And now the thought is, do a homeschooling now. I know that's a thought going through some parents right now. Should I do that? Because you just don't know. I mean, for all of us, we could walk in the mall and something could happen like that. So this world is crazy, man. It's crazy.
We could switch gears to football if you don't mind.
Absolutely, we can. Please.
But I appreciate your comments. Aiden Hutchinson,
Yeah.
What's been your read on him so far, and what do you expect him to contribute?
Here's my my initial read. Everything that we thought we were getting shows up, not just in practice, but in the meeting room also. And then what else shows up is just those little bitty things that you're like, can he do this here? You wonder if he can do it, and now you see it in practice, that it shows up. Like, he has this quickness, man, that is just unbelievable. He has his ability to bend, turn, and continue to work his hands that is outstanding. And those are one of the things I talked about in practice yesterday with our D-line coach. I'm like, just watch him. He's always working. And that's that relentless attitude you guys see when he was in Michigan that made him so successful. So, and it's natural for him. you know. So there's no doubt in my mind this player's going to be a really, really good player for us. And I'm excited to see once you get into training camp and get into games for us.
We talk a lot about competition and competition within the room
Yeah.
and all that. But how much is it, as a former player, you would notice just the competition of the D-line going against the O-line? And the O-line
Yeah.
has gotten a lot of love on this team.
Yeah.
How much do they kind of, take pride in, like, hey, man, we got to get some love too. We got to show up and compete against these guys and show what we can do against, especially Aiden's going to be
Yeah.
going against good tackles.
Yeah. I really don't think that our defensive line look at it that way. I think our defensive line look at it like, listen, we know for a fact we're going against one of the top offensive line tandems in the league, so we get a chance to get a lot of work against a good team, against a good line. So the more that we can do that, the better it's going to make us as a defensive line. And I'm talking about stunts, games, one-on-one pass rush, to go against Panay, to go against Sewell, to go against Jonah, go against go against Ragnar, all those guys. I know for a fact that our D-line, they look forward to that. Because, listen, in the back of your mind, you might not say it, what you said initially, but, I mean, you look forward to doing that in practice. That's what competitors do. And that's what our guys do, because that's what we got. And the fact that you have competition drives this league. And you look at that with our team now. I mean, there's going to be some hard choices for us at several positions. It's because of competition. And when you have that, that really tells you that the talent of your team is starting to get better. So we enjoy that.
You wanted to go back to the Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
You told us you had watched all the defense, every play, and we're processing that. Obviously, you guys are making a shift here with how you're approaching the front. So what did you see in that self-scout that made you, pitch going to this more, I guess, aggressive attacking style, and why are you confident that's the right fit for you guys?
It was more of players instead of just true scheme. I take a look at Aleem, and man, I go back, and I always go back and watch college and see what they were doing. And Aleem was always in this zero technique. But once he came here, and I started seeing how athletic he was, I'm watching Levi at the Senior Bowl and seeing him be able to penetrate, shoot gaps, attack his technique. Now that's a huge word that I want you guys to understand. I say attack technique. I don't want you guys to think that we're just run up the field and that's because that's not who we are. And that's not what we're going to do. But it is a more aggressive style of defense. And I want to be able to take advantage of every player, their ability as much as I can. And I want to take advantage of that athleticism that Aleem has. I want to make that, I want to showcase that. That makes sense. I want to showcase it. I want to showcase what Levi showed us at the Senior Bowl. I want to showcase what Aiden can do when I kick him inside to do things. I want to showcase what JP can do. So I'm looking at every player's ability. And how can I showcase this? And I can't be selfish and want to do things the way that I've done it or the way that I have to make sure that I do what's best in each player's to take advantage of who they are and what they can do. So that was the change.
How much of a challenge is it? Because, it would be easy just to get different players, right? To fit,
Yeah.
to fit a 3-4, that's maybe where your comfort zone is, or your
I'm a
history.
football
at least.
coach.
Yeah, your history at least.
I'm a football coach.
So it's
And
not,
I've always prided myself on, I study different schemes. I understand how to play different techniques. If something happened to my D-line coach, I can go coach the D-line. If something happened to my linebacker coach, I can go coach. So to me, it's like schematically, what can we do to help these players be the best they can be? So it wasn't hard at all. It was just me sitting back looking at it, and I called Washington, I think this is the direction I want to go. And I tell you what, and you guys talked to him, he was happy as heck, all right? Because I tell you, D-line coaches and O-line coaches, they're on this planet, and everybody else is on this planet. They're just different. They are. And, man, if you tickle their fan a little bit about something they've done, oh, my gosh. I thought he was going to kiss me. I'm telling you. But he was happy about it. And he's like, man, AJ, I'm thankful. He said, but that's why you my DC man. So, but it's all good. It's all good.
maybe what you learned. I mean, you went through the whole interview process, and I don't know even what this past week was like when you did the NFL owners.
Oh man, that was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I'm very grateful for the two opportunities that I got. I thought I did a really good job in those interviews. The feedback that I got was outstanding. I actually had this weekend, I had Kelly Klein, who was actually a female that was a part of it. And she came back and said, man, there are certain things about that interview that you were by far the best at. Man, that's good to hear. It really is. Because it's telling me I'm on the right track as far as my thought process and things like that. And getting a chance to talk to Mickey, Dennis Lauscher, Miss Benson, talking to them again. All right, and they were just telling me some of the things that I did really, really well, and also something I need to work on. I think anytime you interview, there's some things you can work on. So I continue to get that feedback. And then just in general, just being there. And I said this comment to the media while I was there, because I had a chance to sit with almost every owner. And my mindset was, listen, I'm not here to talk football, because I'm not here to be disrespectful to any coach across the league. That's not my responsibility. My responsibility is just to get to know the owners and also let them get to know me. All right. And as I did the interview, I said, there's a lot that we have in common, a lot. Just different backgrounds, upbringing, but likes and dislikes. I mean, there was a lot. I said the only real difference is their bank account's bigger than mine. You know, that's what it is. So just like you guys laughed, they laughed at that also. But that's true. That's true. Me and Stephen Jones talked about LeBron James, Michael Jordan, and Kobe for about 40 minutes. Like, who's the best? And as I'm sitting there about 15 minutes in this conversation, I'm like, are we really still talking about this? But that was cool, though. They think about those things just like we do. So it was awesome, man. It really was. Oh, wow. Go ahead.
We got 40 minutes.
Who is the best?
Come on now. I grew up in Michael Jordan. Now, but I do understand the LeBron, because now this generation, like our guys, I say Michael Jordan, who? But LeBron, they all know LeBron. But I get it. It took me a while to get that. It took me a while, but I get it.
What was the conversation like with Dan when the Saints thing wasn't going to happen? And he had a colorful way of expressing his excitement about you being back.
Well, it was, I think it was a Monday, and I know Mickey said he was going to call me sometime that morning. I didn't get a call. And then as the day went on, he called me and said, man, we're still like thinking about it. And I'm like, oh gosh, so they're pushing this on. And then like 6 o'clock came, and he called me, and he didn't say anything. For like 10 minutes in the conversation. I'm like, Mickey, just tell me, man. He finally told me. So I immediately texted Dan and said, man, I didn't get the job. And I don't know what his response was on the other side of that text, but I know I was excited. I think I have the best job in the world. I really do. Man, I'm working for an outstanding head coach. I'm working for an outstanding owner, outstanding president, really good people in the building to work with. And I tell you, man, my main deal right now, I want to be the best coordinator Detroit has ever had. And I'm going to stand by that, and I'm going to continue to say that, because I really believe that in my heart. And if the head coaching deal happens, it happens. But for right now, I think I have an outstanding job. I really do.
Well, Dan Campbell's happy that you're staying here. He said the thought of losing you would be like walking around here with no pants on.
Well, we want to make sure he keep his pants on. We want to make sure we do that. So, and he's one of my closest friends, and I'm sure we'll have some conversations about that. It might not be to that degree, but we want to make sure he keep his pants on. But that's good to hear, though. It's really good to hear. Not the pants part, but he's excited for me to be back.
How confident are you in the linebacking crew that you have?
Very confident. Now, I will tell you this. You talk about competition in the room, just take a look at that room. And that's the one thing that everybody, they keep talking about. We should have drafted a linebacker. We got some pretty damn good ones. All right. I mean, you guys haven't had a chance to probably see Boards yet. Woods, he get a chance to play. Anzalone, I mean, this is probably the best season he's had since his rookie year. We got JD back, who's motivated. And we got Mal Rodriguez, all right, who I think is a sleeper. We have Houston, all right, from Jackson State, all right, who's going to be a pretty good player. So there is competition in that room. And again, I will say this. Anytime there's hard decisions about players, tells you that the talent is improving on your team. And that's what every coach wants, every coach. And that's why we're so excited about this opportunity to coach these guys and be able to see what they're going to do in training camp.
Who's a guy that, again, going back to your self-scouting here, who's a guy that you saw the way he closed last season, maybe didn't recognize it in the moment, but closed the season strong, that you are excited about his growth going into this season?
Well, I would say a number of guys, actually. When you just take the last part of that season, and just also to go along with this change, we start putting guys in positions to attack a little bit more. We couldn't totally change the whole scheme at that point, but you start putting Aleem in situations where he can attack. And you saw how disruptive he was. Man, I would say this. Amani, man, made great strides. Great strides. And my mindset now with Amani is, listen, I understand his strengths, I understand his weaknesses. You keep throwing the ball at him, he's going to get one. You keep throwing it at him, he's going to get it. All right, and that's good for us to have because it's confidence, and we want to make sure that player knows that we're confident in him, that, listen, we know you're going to make a play. They might catch a couple of balls on you. I got it. If they keep throwing at you, you're going to make plays. And obviously Charles Harris, I mean, I'll tell you what, you just watch him right now. I mean, he is on tilt, like every freaking play. And, like, that player, I can expect a lot more from that player this coming year. I'm excited about what he's going to bring to the table, and I'm going to make sure we put him in positions to make sure we allow him to do exactly what we feel like he can do going to this season. Thanks, Coach. All good? All right, fellas.